The air feels different this year, doesn't it? Something profound is happening, something we can't quite put into words but can feel deeply in our souls. It's as if the universe itself is whispering to us, guiding us toward a realization that we've been avoiding for too long. This year isn't just another year, it's a year of awakening, a year of reckoning, a year of final judgment for the chosen ones. And make no mistake, if you're here, if you're listening, if you feel this pull within you, you are one of the chosen. But what does that mean? What are we awakening to? What are we being judged for? And how do we prepare for what's to come? I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself something. Have you been living as the person you were meant to be? Or have you been living as the person the world told you to be? We live in a time where distractions are endless, where the noise of the world drowns out the voice of our souls. But this year, the noise isn't louder than usual. Instead, our souls are screaming louder than ever. They're calling us to wake up. They're begging us to remember who we are, why we're here, and what we're meant to do. Because the truth is, the chosen ones are not here by accident. You and I, we came into this world with a purpose, a mission. And this year is the year we either embrace it or lose ourselves forever. But let's start with a simple truth. Awakening is not comfortable. It's not easy. It's not something that happens while you're scrolling through social media or binge watching another series. Awakening demands something from you. It demands your attention, your presence, your courage. It demands that you look at yourself, not the version of you that you show the world, but the real you. The you that hides in the shadows, that carries the wounds, the fears, the doubts. Because here's the thing, awakening is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been beneath the layers of conditioning, pain, and lies. So let me ask you again, who are you? Not your name, not your job, not your accomplishments. Who are you at your core? What is the truth of you that you've been too afraid to face?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
This year, the universe is forcing us to answer these questions, whether we're ready or not. And for the chosen ones, the stakes are even higher. Because we're not just awakening for ourselves, we're awakening for the world. We're here to be the light in the darkness, the calm in the chaos, the truth in a world full of lies. But how can we do that if we haven't faced our own darkness, our own chaos, our own lies? How can we guide others if we haven't yet found our way? The final judgment isn't about punishment. It's not about some external force deciding whether we're worthy or not. It's about us. It's about whether we've been true to ourselves, whether we've lived with integrity, whether we've done the work to heal and grow. It's about whether we've been willing to let go of what no longer serves us, to release the illusions and attachments that keep us stuck. Because here's the truth, the only thing standing between you and your highest self is you. Your fears, your doubts, your excuses, your unwillingness to let go of the past. But I get it. Letting go is terrifying. It feels like death. And in a way it is. Because awakening requires the death of the old you, the you that's been shaped by fear, by trauma, by the expectations of others. But what if I told you that on the other side of that death is a rebirth more beautiful than anything you can imagine? What if I told you that the version of you that's waiting to be born is more powerful, more radiant, more free than you've ever been? Would you have the courage to let go? This year is not just about awakening, it's about transformation. It's about stepping into your power, owning your truth, and living as the person you were always meant to be. But transformation doesn't happen by accident. It requires intention. It requires action. It requires faith. Faith in yourself, faith in the process, faith in something greater than yourself. So, let's talk about practical steps. How do you awaken? How do you prepare for this final judgment? First, you must silence the noise. Turn off the distractions. Spend time in stillness, in nature, in solitude. Listen to the whispers of your soul. Pay attention to the signs the universe is sending you. Because the signs are everywhere, you just have to be willing to see them. Second, you must face your shadows. Look at the parts of yourself that you've been avoiding. The pain, the fear, the anger, the shame. Don't run from them. Don't numb them. Sit with them. Feel them. Heal them. Heal them. Because your shadows are not your enemy. They're simply the parts of you that need your love the most. Third, you must let go. Let go of the past, of the stories you've been telling yourself, of the attachments that are holding you back. Let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you really are. Because the truth is, you cannot awaken while clinging to the old. You cannot become who you're meant to be while holding on to who you've been. And finally, you must trust. Trust that everything you're going through is happening for a reason. Trust that the universe has a plan for you, even if you can't see it yet. Trust that you are exactly where you're meant to be, and that every challenge, every heartbreak, every moment of doubt is serving your growth and awakening. So, I ask you, are you ready? Are you ready to awaken? Are you ready to face yourself? Are you ready to let go of everything that's been holding you back? Because the truth is, the time for waiting is over. The time for excuses is over. The time for avoiding your purpose is over. This year is the year. And the final judgment is not coming, it's already here. There's a fire waiting for you. It's not a fire that burns your skin, it's one that burns your illusions. It's not the kind of flame that consumes buildings, but the kind that consumes everything false, everything weak, everything that doesn't belong to your true nature. This fire doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to refine you. And this year, this fire is raging stronger than ever. The question isn't, will you face it? The question is, when it comes, will you let it change you? Or will you run? The truth is, most people run. They see the heat, they feel the pressure, and they back away. They choose comfort. They choose safety. They choose the familiar. But for the chosen ones, that's not an option anymore. You didn't come here to live a small life. You didn't come here to hide in the shadows of your potential. You came here to grow, to rise, to step into the fullness of who you are. And growth is messy. Rising is painful. Being who you truly are feels unbearable at times because it means shedding everything that isn't you. And let's be real, most people would rather carry their chains than face the discomfort of breaking them. So what about you? What's holding you back? Is it fear? Is it the stories people have told you about who you are and what you're capable of? Is it guilt? Shame? Maybe it's doubt, this voice in the back of your mind whispering that you're not ready, not strong enough, not worthy. Let's get something straight right now, that voice is lying. It's not you. It's everything you've absorbed from a world that profits off your insecurity. Because if you were to wake up, if you were to fully step into your power, do you realize how unstoppable you'd be? And that terrifies the systems that thrive on your weakness. But here's the catch: the fire doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It shows up when it's time. And when it does, it doesn't ask for permission. It just burns. The pain you've been avoiding, the changes you've been putting off, The truths you've been ignoring, they'll all rise to the surface. And when they do, you'll have a choice. Not the kind of choice where you get to walk away unscathed, but the kind of choice where you decide whether to face the fire head on or let it consume you from the inside out. This isn't something abstract. You know exactly what I'm talking about. There's something in your life right now that feels heavy, something that's been weighing on you for a while. Maybe it's a relationship that no longer feels aligned, a job that drains your soul, a habit you can't seem to break, or a version of yourself you're desperate to outgrow but don't know how. Whatever it is, it's not just a problem to solve. It's the fire calling you. It's the thing you've been avoiding because you know deep down that facing it would mean letting part of you die. And that's the part no one talks about, isn't it? The death. Transformation sounds noble, even beautiful, but no one tells you what it costs. It costs your comfort. It costs the version of you that you've spent years building to fit in, to survive, to feel accepted. It costs the lies you've told yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. The truth is, before you can become your highest self, your current self has to crumble. And that's terrifying. But do you know what's even more terrifying? Staying the same. Each time you think you found yourself, it will reveal another layer to uncover. This is the path of the chosen ones. It's not a straight line. It's a spiral, a cycle of death and rebirth, of breaking and becoming. And the more you resist it, the harder it gets. But the more you trust it, the more you realize that every flame, every trial, every loss is shaping you into the person you were always meant to be. Now, let's talk about the practical side of this. Because awakening and transformation aren't just ideas, they're actions. What does it look like to walk through the fire in your everyday life? It means making the hard choices. It means having uncomfortable conversations. It means saying no to the things that drain you, even if they're familiar, even if they're safe. It means showing up for yourself in ways you never have before. And it means being honest, brutally honest about what's working in your life and what's not. Take a moment and think about it. What are you holding on to right now that's keeping you from stepping into your power? Is it a belief? A habit? A relationship? Whatever it is, you already know the answer. You've known it for a while. The fire doesn't show up unannounced. It starts as a whisper, a nudge, a feeling in your gut that something needs to change. But if you ignore it, it grows louder and louder until it's impossible to ignore. This year, the fire isn't whispering anymore. It's roaring. And it's not just about you. The chosen ones aren't being called to awaken for their own sake. We're being called because the world needs us. Look around you. The systems are breaking. The lies are being exposed. The old ways are crumbling. And while most people are clinging to what's familiar, the chosen ones are being asked to lead. But how can you lead others if you're still afraid to lead yourself? How can you be the light if you're still hiding from your own darkness? There's no shortcut here, no hack, no escape. The only way out is through, and the only way out is through. And the only way through is to let the fire do its work. To let it burn away everything that's not you. To let it turn your pain into power, your fear into fuel, your doubt into determination. And when it's done, when the ashes settle, you'll realize something: the fire didn't destroy you. It revealed you. The fire leaves you raw. It strips away everything you thought defined you. And when the smoke clears, there's an unsettling silence. It's disorienting, isn't it? to stand there exposed with no mask left to hide behind, no story left to cling to. You might even feel empty, as if the fire took more than it gave. But that's the lie we've been taught to believe, that emptiness is something to fear. In truth, it's where creation begins. You're not empty, you're open. Open to what's real. Open to what's next. Open to the life you were always meant to live. This is where the chosen ones find themselves now, standing in the ashes of the world they once knew, looking ahead to what's coming. But the question remains, what will you do with this openness? Will you fill it with the same old patterns, the same distractions, the same fear? Or will you step into the unknown and let something new take root? The truth is, this year isn't just about individual awakening. It's about collective transformation. The fire isn't just burning in you, it's burning in the world. Systems are collapsing. Old structures are falling apart. The lies that have kept humanity asleep for so long are no longer holding. And while most people are clinging to the old, terrified of what will happen if they let go, the chosen ones are being called to build something new. Not from a place of fear, but from a place of truth. But let's be real, this isn't a small task. It's not about waiting for someone else to lead or for the perfect moment to arrive. It's about stepping forward when it feels impossible, when you have no roadmap, no guarantees, no safety net. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't wait for permission to create change, but who is the change. And that starts with how you live your life, right here, right now. Look at the world around you. Look at the chaos, the division, the fear. That's not happening by accident. It's happening because the old ways are breaking apart. And as painful as it is to witness, it's necessary. You can't build a new earth on top of a foundation that's rotten. But here's where most people get stuck. They see the destruction and think it's the end. They see the darkness and think it's winning. But the chosen ones know better. The chosen ones know that destruction is just the first step of creation. That darkness is not the absence of light, but the space where light is born. So what does it mean to be a chosen one in a time like this? It means you don't just survive the fire, you become it. You become the force that burns away what no longer serves, not through anger or blame, but through truth. It means you don't wait for the world to change, you change yourself and let the ripple effects transform everything around you. It means you don't look outside for answers, you trust what's already inside and act on it, even when it doesn't make sense, even when it feels impossible. But let's break this down. What does this actually look like in your life? It means living with integrity. Not the kind of integrity that's performative, that seeks validation or approval, but the kind that's uncompromising. It means telling the truth, even when it's inconvenient, even when it costs you something. It means doing the right thing, not because someone's watching, but because you're watching. Because you know that every action, every choice, every moment matters, not just for you, but for the collective. It also means rejecting the narrative of fear that's being sold to you at every turn. Look around. How much of what you see, hear, and consume is designed to keep you small, scared, and dependent. The chosen ones are not here to be controlled by fear. They're here to transcend it. And that doesn't mean pretending fear doesn't exist. It means seeing it for what it is: a tool, a messenger, a catalyst. Fear is not your enemy. It's the thing that shows you where you're still holding back, where you're still doubting yourself, where you're still chained to the past. And when you face it, when you move through it, it loses its power over you. But this isn't just about you. The chosen ones are not isolated islands of awakening, they're part of something bigger. A web, a network, a collective force that's rising to meet the chaos of the old world with the clarity of the new. And this isn't some abstract idea, it's happening in real time. Look at the people around you who are waking up, who are stepping into their power, who are refusing to play by the old rules. Every time one of us chooses truth over illusion, courage over fear, freedom over conformity, we strengthen that web. We create a foundation for the new earth. And this new earth, it's not a place, it's a way of being. It's a world where authenticity is valued over image, where connection is prioritized over competition, where love is not just an ideal but a practice. But let's be clear, this isn't about escaping the world as it is. It's about transforming it. And that starts with you, with how you show up, with how you treat others, with how you treat yourself. So let's talk about what's next. The final judgment isn't about passing or failing. It's about alignment. It's about whether you're living in alignment with your truth or whether you're still living out of fear. And alignment isn't some mystical state, it's practical. It's in the choices you make every day. Are you choosing what feels true, even when it's hard? Or are you choosing what feels easy, even when it's empty? This year, there's no room for half-truths. No room for pretending, for playing small, for waiting until you feel ready. The time to act is now. Because the new earth isn't going to build itself. It's going to be built by those who are willing to lead, to risk, to create. By those who are willing to walk through the fire, not just for themselves but for the collective. By those who understand that being chosen is not a privilege, it's a responsibility. So here's the real question: what are you going to do with this responsibility? Will you rise to meet it, or will you shrink from it? Will you let the fire transform you, or will you resist it? Will you step into your role as a builder of the new earth, or will you cling to the ashes of the old? The choice isn't coming, it's already here. And the way you answer it will shape not just your life, but the world we're all creating together. This year is the spiritual awakening and the final judgment for the chosen ones. It's not a test you pass or fail, it's an invitation. An invitation to remember who you are, to live in a way that honors the truth of your soul, to stand in the fire and let it reveal the power, the clarity, the light that's been inside you all along. And when you do, you won't just survive this year, you'll rise from it. Not as the person you were, but as the person you were always meant to be.